So and turn that one off. First things first, we've got a little bit of housekeeping. So my name is Mukta Gadkari. I am a holistic nutritionist and mindful eating coach. I am based in San Jose, California. I have been a practitioner for Banyan since the very beginning, since 2020. I was one of the first practitioners, actually, so it's been really fun to see this organization grow, and I have grown with it. So just a little bit about me. Banyan currently, so let me tell you a little bit about Banyan. If you're new to this organization, we are a 501c3 non-for-profit organization based in the San Francisco Bay Area Peninsula area. We believe that health and wellness, access, and choice is a human right and should not be determined by your financial status or your zip code. So that is basically what Banyan is all about. And it's clearly a free service for everyone. And currently, Banyan is going through their Wellness Week. So we have a bunch of free classes throughout this week. And the theme for this Wellness Week is sattva. So if you join this class thinking, oh, I'm going to learn about salads for a happy belly and mind, yes, you are going to be learning about salads for a happy belly and mind, but you're going to also be learning about it from the angle of sattva. Doesn't mean that you have to follow it. This is just because we're doing this for the Wellness Week. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what that is as we go through the class. So the first thing we have to do in terms of housekeeping is we do have a survey. So I'm going to launch this poll. Hopefully, if you're on your phones, you might have to look for the screen to find it. But I'm going to launch the poll, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes to fill it out. Please do take the time to fill out this poll. We do rely on grants for all of these classes, and we do have a lot of incredible practitioners. And, we've been doing this for a while, but we cannot do it without the support of our community. And one way that you can kind of help support us is by completing some of these surveys. So we know who you are, we know kind of what the needs of the community are, and we can plan our classes accordingly. So I'm going to launch this poll and give you 2 minutes to complete this. So that's 6:07. I'm not seeing any people responding yet. Okay, 1 out of 19, 2 out of 19. Awesome. Okay, great. Response is coming in. That means it's working. I appreciate all of you taking the time. Just give it another minute or so. Got 12 out of 19. We're almost close to the finish line. So just go ahead and complete it. Should be fairly quick to do. Give you another 30 seconds or more or so to do this. All right, awesome. I'm going to end the poll, and then we can go ahead and get started. Close out. Excellent. Okay, fantastic. So I think that's all I needed for that. And then let's go ahead and start. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Can you all see my screen? It's going to minimize this. Can somebody tell me the chat? Yes, you can see my screen. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So what we are going to be doing is just quickly going over what it means, what really the sattva is, and like what the principles are that we're going to be working on. But so I'm going to give like maybe about 15-20 minutes to talk about that. And then I will launch into a demo. The demo is going to be fairly quick, hopefully. And as I said earlier, for those of you who joined a little bit late, I'm not actually able to send you my slides in the chat, unfortunately, but I can send it to you if you email me, and I'm going to put my email in again. I'll send you the slides and I'll send you the recipes, because there's a bunch of recipes besides this one, and I'll have to do it after the class so that you can take a look. Okay, so just email me and I will get back to you. All right, so salads for a happy belly and mind, part of our wellness week. Just a really quick thing about me, if you're not familiar with who I am a board certified holistic nutritionist and coach. I have been in business for almost 7 years. My focus working with clients is helping them develop a more kind of peaceful relationship around food, helping them with digestive and gut issues. So like if there's issues with like trying to figure out what to eat, what feels really good in their own bodies, that's just something that I help figure out. Another thing is helping with blood sugar balance. So all of those sort of come into the whole mindful eating arena, which is something I'm super passionate about. And we're going to be talking about some of these things during this class. So I am really excited about teaching this class. There's just a few little fun pictures about me. Some of these are really old photos, but like, the pictures of the water make me feel really cool right now, so I didn't change them. I am looking for a cold water swim very soon in my future, so that is why I left those in there. Okay, so let's talk about what the agenda is. I'm going to move my face so that I can read what's on the slides. So we're going to first talk about what is sattva. And I know some of you have attended a couple of classes already this wellness week, so I will be looking for some interaction from you as to what you think sattva is based on what you've learned. We're going to talk about how you'd apply it to food. We'll talk about some limitations of applying it to food, and then what it looks like to build a sattvic salad. And I promise you, yes, the salad is still going to be for a happy belly and mind. And then we'll do the demo. Okay, so let us first start with what is sattva. So I'm going to be looking for some chats. If I can find the chat, where is it? Oh, here, where is the chat? I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I can't see anything on the screen. All right, so does anyone know what sattva is? If you can tell me in the chat, what have you learned if you have been part of the wellness week so far? Just a few words here and there. Right, let's see if I can find the chat. Anyone? Okay, being. I'm assuming you mean like being present. What else? And it's okay if you don't have an idea of what that is, because we're going to go into it. Okay, energy. Yep, that's definitely a component of it. Balance, peacefulness, align with true self. Fantastic. Excellent. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be sharing what my, let me share the slides again, what my balancing mind and body, yep, definitely. So we're going to be talking about what the definition of sattva is, from a Hinduism angle, like really what it really means, but then also like my interpretation of it. And I would recommend that you take a look at what it says, but then take your own interpretation and walk away from this class with it, because it's not something that everyone can just do. Okay. And especially if you're not practicing in this wellness week, I would say just kind of take it as new information that you can play with. Okay. So there's no sort of like you have to do this or anything like that, right? Like this is just, we're exploring a new approach. So let me just pull up the slides again. So what is sattva? This is what Wikipedia has to say about sattva. And I'm not gonna, we're not gonna go into the ins and outs of it, but basically the high level thing is that, and I'm just looking at the bottom paragraph for now. It's the quality of goodness, purity, positivity, truth, serenity, balance, peacefulness, and virtuousness. It comes from Hinduism, and basically it's a Sanskrit word meaning goodness, right? And that's all relative. So what you need to know, I think, and this will kind of apply to your understanding of the food part of it, is that in Hinduism, there are these three qualities which are called gunas, and sattva is one of them. Rajas is another one. So as sattva, is really related to goodness, purity, etc. Rajas is related to passion and activity, like the fieriness, and tamas is related to destruction, chaos. Sometimes it's kind of related to a little bit of like a lull, like it's there clearly there's like a little bit of negativity around it, but my understanding is that everyone has each of those qualities present in them to some extent, and the food and the approach that we can take to life will kind of help us take on one of these qualities a little bit more than another. Okay, so sattva is really trying to find the balance. It's not necessarily like the best or anything like that, but it is really just a way to find a balance and goodness. Okay, so I'm going to just see what the chat says. It's all right if you have tech issues, no worries. This is being recorded, so you can definitely check it out afterwards. So let's kind of talk about what sattva might mean with regards to food in the most literal sense. So my interpretation of sattva and food, and yours could be slightly different, because we've all come from different sort of experiences and backgrounds. My interpretation is food that makes you feel peaceful, food that is like quote unquote pure. Pure is also a very relative term, but also the idea of balance. And some of you have been in my class before, so you might know where I'm going with this. But really, those are the three keywords that we're going to explore a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to go a bit fast in the next few slides because there's a lot, but you are going to get the slides. So if you want to take it away and kind of look at it later on, I would definitely recommend it. Once again, this is not, give me 1 second because I need to do something really quick over here. I need to, actually, you know what? I need to unhide a couple of pages because it'll be easier for you to look at if I do that. And you can obviously see what I'm doing in the background, and that's okay. So we're going to just kind of look at each of these things one by one. So let's talk about peaceful. Okay, so in my mind, that means being extra intentional. But the underlying aspect of peacefulness, I would say, is related to ahimsa. This is my understanding, okay? No one has taught me this, but based on like what I've picked up, whether from like doing yoga or, actually just kind of immersing myself in like different sort of ways of eating, this is what I understand from it. So ahimsa or non-violence is a big part of that peacefulness. So the kind of the energy behind this is that if you eat something that has been peacefully brought into this world, it's been peacefully raised, there's no violence related to this particular food. If you eat it, you're going to be peaceful. Okay, that is the underlying principle behind it. Doesn't mean that this is something that you have to do. It's just something that I understand from sattva and food. So you're considering the welfare of the plants as you source and consume the food. You're considering the welfare of the ecosystem. Considering the welfare of the animals if you choose to eat animal products. And for some people, that is just a reality of it, okay, that plant products don't sit as well in their system. So, people tend to be a little bit more reliant on certain foods than others, okay? So choosing easy to digest food because that can bring peace. And then in some of the traditional practices, they won't eat root vegetables because they grow under the ground. And like, actually eating these vegetables will mean that you're killing germs, so that, takes that to the sort of the next level. And then another, I think this is really beautiful, being gentle with plants. So like if you're plucking a fruit, how do you know something is ripe? When you kind of twist it gently, it just comes off, right? There's no like tugging and like yanking or anything like that. So again, it's like no violence, right? So if you have a garden and you want to practice just being having sattva with the food in your garden, that's a really beautiful way to do it. Okay, the next one, I don't know what has happened here. I've obviously lost one of my slides. Okay, let's just go to pure. Okay, we're gonna just focus on pure. Pure, I would say, is really, again, pure is such a relative term, whole food, right? So it's like, it's a whole food. It looks as though, it has come from its source, right? So it's the closest to its source. And things that are closest to its source, and I'm not going to talk about animal products right now, because we're going to pretend that this is a sattvic approach, okay? But if you have questions about that, definitely ask me. Okay, closest to the source, so beans, lentils, sprouted grains, nuts, seeds, and coconut, fruits, veggies. Dairy is actually okay in the sattvic approach. And so it's not vegan, it's not vegetarian, but dairy, because like technically cows are not harmed in the process of getting milk. Okay, and I know it's all relative. So the traditional practices are no animal products besides dairy, obviously, no onion, no garlic, chilies, mushrooms, pickles. Onion, garlic, chilies, mushroom, pickles are supposedly more sort of in the rajasic, tamasic camp, and so those are supposed to be avoided in a traditional sattvic diet. And then no refined grains, so no breads, no added sugar, no fried or processed foods, again a relative term, no caffeine or alcohol. Okay, that is in the purest sense of pure. Now let's talk about balance. Okay, balance is my definition because I work a lot with balance. So you might have a totally different definition of balance. What brings you balance and harmony? Because I work a lot with blood sugar issues and concerns, one of the ways that you can find a balance is by including every macronutrient in every meal. So making sure your meals contain protein, fats, and carbs, specifically fiber. So, if you're using the whole foods that like closest to the source, you're most likely going to get a lot of fiber. A variety of colors, textures, and flavors. So you're getting that balance of an experience and a balance of antioxidants, a balance of vitamins and minerals. You're not eating the same food over and over again. And then for me, I think the biggest piece of balance, and again, this is why it's so individualized, is that it feels good in your body. So like this feels peaceful. I feel like I've eaten. There's nothing like crazy going on where I'm like, oh my God, my stomach hurts, or I have gas, or I have bloating, something's not digesting well. You just feel peaceful. Okay, so that's one thing, feels good in your body. But in my world, as a nutritionist, it's steadying your blood sugar. So you kind of like just steady throughout the day. You're not going up and down. And, sometimes if you're not including all the macronutrients in your meal, you can spike, your blood sugar levels can spike and dip. It's sustaining your energy and focus. So that's how you'll know if your meals are balanced. It's keeping you fuller between meals. So like, there's the fullness right after your meal, right? Like where you're satisfied. But that fullness can go away very quickly depending on what you've eaten. So keeping that in mind, noticing that this week as to how quickly you're getting hungry again after a meal. And then the other thing is it lowers your stress because it's steadying blood sugar and all of those things. So I'm going to just, before I go to this next slide, I'm going to see if there's any questions. Are there any questions? If you could put them in the chat, I can take a look now. There's a lot of information here. And actually, if you want to take a photo of this slide or screenshot, because I will send you the slides if you email me, but if you Just want to get a sense for like what sattva might be like. Again, this is not like I've, received it from a scripture or anything like that, right? Like this is my interpretation of sattva. And I would really recommend or encourage you, if you're interested in it, to do a bit more reading about it, see what that means for you, and create your own interpretation of it. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Okay, doesn't look like there's any questions, so I'm going to move on. Okay, so limitations of any diet. So I am not a fan of any diet whatsoever. A long time ago, I did a yoga teacher training, and I was very interested in trying a vegan diet. And I'd actually been vegetarian for a bit, and I was like, you know what, let's see how this goes. It didn't work for me. And then I was thinking about the sattvic diet. I was like, oh, this is a nice way to kind of bring peace into my world and like, bring balance and harmony. And I feel like it was interesting, but I knew very quickly that it was not going to be sustainable. So I let that go very quickly. I think in any diet, you're going to have limitations, right? It's restrictive. It doesn't work for everybody, so like everyone's bodies are so different. Everyone's digestive systems, everyone's guts are so different. So it's not going to work for everyone, right? And really honoring your body should be the number one priority. It can be inaccessible, impractical, and not feasible. So like, it's all great to say like, no, I'm not going to eat any processed foods this week. But guess what? Like sometimes that's the most convenient thing. Sometimes that's the thing that's available. Food prices have gone up. Like maybe that's the thing that's been sitting in your pantry and you need to eat it. So, I feel like any diet is going to have these limitations. So be gentle with yourself, no matter what you decide to do this week. Diets make you overthink like crazy, so even that diagram, I did it because I feel like it's important to know. But, if you were to comb through it with a fine, if you were trying to go through it and decide, oh, I can't do this, but I can do this. Oh, no, I can't do chilies. Oh, wait, I can't do onions. It makes you overthink. Okay, so again, the point is, it contributes to stress, and we're trying to be peaceful. We're trying to be harmonious and balanced. Okay, so the whole point is finding your balance in your way. Okay, and not trying to overthink any of this. Okay, no questions, gonna move on. So let's talk about what sattva might look like in practice. Okay, and I'm gonna obviously go into the building a salad very in the next slide. But like, if you chose to just, be like, okay, you know what, I'm not gonna do this whole thing, word for word. Maybe I'll focus on whole foods. But I definitely need to eat some meat because my body cannot digest beans, or it can't digest tofu, whatever. So I would say as an experiment, mindful eating, I would say, focuses on the eating part of it, but it could also, if you expand it out, be intentional in the sourcing of your food. Where is the food coming from? And again, no judgment. You just look at the back of look at the label, maybe ask questions. Like if you're at a farmer's market, ask the question, where did this come from? How did this grow? Like, was it grown humanely? And you get to decide as a consumer, but that's being intentional. That's your intention behind it. And I think some of us forget about that, right? Like it's very easy to just go and like pull things off the shelf because we're in a hurry. But I think this might be a good week to just focus on that. Maybe that's all you focus on, right? Like, and not worry too much about the other aspects of sattva. So really getting curious. And then also like maybe getting curious about what the economic, climate, ecological, human cost of eating this food is, right? Like our food is coming from all over the world, and we're not necessarily paying attention to the consequences, the costs. Okay, again, this is not meant to stress you out. It is just meant to give you information because you want to be an informed consumer. So again, mindful eating can extend into that. However, I would say if you even just wanted to slow down before eating, to to go into like sort of the peaceful aspect of it, because slowing down, chewing your food, taking the time to like assess your food, look at it, use your senses, all of that will help improve your digestion, and make it a more peaceful experience for you. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing is, maybe I talked about this in the previous one, but just consider the smallest possible change you can make, right? Like you don't have to kind of do a diet overhaul. Like that can be really hard, and it might stress you out to the point where you just don't want to do this at all, right? So consider the smallest possible change. So it could be just making sure that you've got all the macronutrients in each meal, even if it includes animal protein. Just, putting that on your plate, taking a look at what that looks like, feeling what that looks like in your body, noticing how full you feel after each meal. It could be as simple as adding nuts and seeds to each meal, and seeing how you feel then, because that's going to contribute to fullness between meals. And then also just think of this as play, right? Like you're going to play and notice. So if you're used to eating meat, play with letting go this week. Maybe just for the next 4 days, decide, okay, I'm going to try not to eat meat and see how I feel. You can do, one meal a day without meat and see how it feels. You could test drive your meals. Okay, like I said that earlier. For example, one meal a day without animal products or processed food. See how that feels. You could play and experiment with a new food every day this week. So that's another type of way that you can bring sattva. The point is, you want to have fun with it, because the minute it feels like, you're not going to get graded. This is not a challenge. We're not going to be looking at your photographs and being like, oh, this is balanced or they ate meat. None of that, right? Like this is just your way of exploring, a slightly different approach and changing it up, getting out of familiar patterns. Okay. Now let's talk about building a sattvic salad. So again, I have not focused on animal protein at all, just in case anyone of you wants to just play with plant-based. Obviously, dairy is part of it, but these are the macronutrients that I was talking about that you'd want to include in every salad. And protein. So protein is going to give you energy and focus. So I would aim for 15 to 20 grams of protein in every meal. Okay, so that could come in the form of tofu or tempeh. It could be dairy, so like cheese, whether it's feta or goat cheese. You could have a yogurt-based dressing, beans, chickpeas, lentils, all of those, cooked, obviously, nuts and seeds. We talked about sprouted grains before. Sprouting grains is just, I would say, essentially soaking grains for about 30 minutes before you cook them. Is not the same thing as sprouting grains, but it's making it more digestible. So that could be one way to do that. And also nuts and seeds, soaking them. I'm a huge proponent of soaking your beans, chickpeas, lentils with a little bit of baking soda, rinsing it and doing it like overnight. I usually do that with beans and chickpeas. I usually soak for at least 20 hours and then rinse it and then cook it. And that way I don't get gas, I don't get bloating. I love beans. So that's what actually we're going to be doing today. We're going to make a marinated bean salad. Fats, really important for energy and fullness between meals. So things like avocados, coconut, olives, nuts and seeds. Again, you can use oils and butter, and then full fat dairy. And then carbs, you're going to get energy, you're going to get antioxidants, enzymes, immune support. And like the antioxidants and enzymes, they are really necessary for your body to digest the protein and fats. So, definitely very important to ensure that you've got all of those things. But carbs could be veggies. And I said here land and sea, because sea vegetables are also, okay on the sattvic diet. So like any sort of seaweed. Sprouts, are a really good way to get like a ton of enzymes, and it's also a good source of protein, more digestible way to eat beans and lentils, fruits, especially berries and citrus, and then herbs and spices. Okay, I haven't said anything about onion, I haven't said anything about garlic. Like really, use whatever you want at the end of the day, right? If you want to throw in some fish, you want to throw in some chicken or whatever, just be intentional about how it was sourced, and you don't have to get it right. I think it's just being curious. I think that could be the next step you take. Okay. All right. So let's make salad. I am going to stop my share. I don't think we have any more slides. I'm going to stop my share. I want to see if there's any questions in the chat. Let's see. Okay. All right. So once again, I apologize. I don't have, actually, you know what? Let me show you what we're making. And we'll put it up on the screen. Let's see here. Recipe. Okay. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this very well because it might be really small. But if you wanted to, you could screenshot it so that you can, but so basically, what happened to my photograph? That's annoying. You can see this beautiful photograph of here, and all of a sudden it disappears. Okay, never mind. I will go back to the page, but this is the recipe on this first page, and then the second page, there's a bunch of other recipes that you can play with. Once again, they are all plant-based, okay? So not plant-based, they're also like, there's a couple of vegetarian ones in there. I know there's a ton of recipes you can get online. So knock yourselves out, if you find something that you really like. I'm just gonna try to pull this up here so you can see it. Okay, so this is a marinated bean salad that I absolutely love. And hopefully I am not running out of time, but I'm gonna bring all my ingredients. And what I wanna do is actually share this. Give me 1 second. I need to pin my camera so you can see what I'm doing. Where is my camera? That camera. Pin. Spotlight. Yay. So now you can see what I'm doing. And unfortunately, the shadows are kind of hitting right there, but that's okay. Okay, so in this marinated bean salad, you're probably going to be looking at a lot of things right now. I'm just going to tell you what's in it, okay? Because you will get the recipe, and I don't want there to be too many screens. But what you're going to get here, you just see my face? Okay, can you see my chopping board? Give me a thumbs up if you can see my chopping board. Okay, so that's wrong. I need to pin. Cancel. Remove spotlight. This is so tricky. Apologies. Oh man, I can't do this. Oh, okay, maybe on the mobile you couldn't see it. So I'm gonna go back and do the spotlight again because it sounds like some people can see it. Okay, fabulous. So, focus on whichever screen you want to. Perfect. Okay. I'm just gonna tell you what we're gonna do here because I need to start getting it prepped. So the first thing we're gonna do is I've got my beans over here. I cooked these beans yesterday. They don't look very pretty, but they are Borlotti Lamon beans. They're from a company called Rancho Gordo. I literally just cooked this with some salt. Usually I'll add more stuff to it, but I didn't. And what we're going to do is we're going to marinate these beans in a dressing. And then hopefully we'll have time for everything here. But the dressing is going to be my basic beginner's dressing that some of you are familiar with already. So let me just grab some of the ingredients. And the thing is, my kitchen is so hot that I had to put all the ingredients away. And unfortunately, that's not ideal, but I will. Should be okay in a second here. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make my dressing in here because I need to use up some Dijon mustard, and I think that's probably too much mustard, but that's fine. I think that'll work really well. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a quick dressing. The dressing has 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I want you to know that I do not follow the conventional protocol for salad dressing, which tends to use a lot of oil, and I don't like using that much oil. I prefer to use more citrus, and so this dressing is going to have a little bit more of the citrus. So it's a 1:3 instead of a 3:1. So usually it's 3 olive oil to 1 citrus, and I'm swapping it. Okay, so that has worked really well for me in the past, and I'm going to continue to do it. So marinating beans. Why are we marinating beans? Because it's fun. Like that's pretty much it. Like it adds a lot more flavor. If you do like beans or lentils or tofu, and you're like, you know what, I need to figure out a better way to do this. It's not that flavorful. It's great to just chuck in a can of beans and all that, but sometimes you really don't get, a ton of flavor from it. So marinating beans gives you that extra punch. And I marinate it in the actual dressing because that means that I don't actually have to add any more dressing. Sometimes I adjust some of the flavors, but I don't add a ton of it. So we're putting in 1 of lemon juice, 2, approximately 2 of lemon juice. I can add more later if I want. Actually, I have lime. I'll add a tiny bit of lime here. My lemon is just very big. Okay, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of lime to make up for the lemon juice. And then apple cider vinegar, you can use any vinegar. I'm almost out of my apple cider vinegar, but we're going to use some of the last few scraps of it. Hopefully I don't get the mother in this. Don't fall in. Okay. All right. So we've got, this is actually working out better than I expected because now I've got everything in here. Let's hope that it doesn't go everywhere. So it's basically 4 things: olive oil, lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, and mustard. So half a teaspoon of mustard. I'm guessing this is going to be more than that. Or salt. If you don't have Dijon mustard, salt can work. Sometimes I will still add salt because then, you get a little bit more of the saltiness. I like citrus and salty, which actually is something that in the sattvic practice, they say you shouldn't have something that's too salty or too sour. So I'm going against it already. But to be fair, it's not going to make the whole salad that salty or citrusy. All right. I'm going to taste this and see. Can you see my chopping board area? Or is there too much of a shadow? Actually, I can't really do anything about it at this point. So, all right. So I'm going to just taste it. Okay. I think that's good. I'm going to shake it up a bit more so I can use up all the mustard. Because I feel like it could use a bit more saltiness, but I'm going to add some salt. So all I'm doing is, here are the beans. I'm going to pour it all over the beans. And then toss the beans and just keep them to the side. You can put this in. So the beans are supposed to be a 1.5 cups of beans. This is about 1 cup of beans. I'm not too worried. If you use 1 cup of beans, that should be okay as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that in there. And then because it's pretty warm out, I'm gonna put it back in the fridge for now until I get the rest of the salad ready. All right. Now, the rest of the salad, it has romaine lettuce, or just any lettuce, 1 cup. So it's got 3 cups of greens, shredded greens. Romaine, I'm using radicchio, which I'll show you in a second. I'm using arugula. I don't have a whole cup of arugula. It's fine. And then 1 cup of cucumber, half an avocado for the fullness. I'm going to add some pumpkin seeds. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of quinoa, just for a complete, like, more protein. And I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of hemp seeds. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? And actually, if you want to, you could just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question, but just please make sure to mute yourself again. Any questions about what I'm doing? I'm just going to show you what I did because I washed all these greens earlier. And sadly, it's a little bit too shady in here. Okay. And then I wrapped it up in this towel, a clean towel, and I put it in the fridge. So it's cold and it's dry. And it's nice and crisp. It didn't get all wilty in my kitchen. So this is radicchio. I'm gonna hold it up in both the, it's a bitter green, and you'll get it, it'll look like a ball. It'll look like a ball of lettuce, tiny ball of lettuce. And I just peeled off the leaves. Let me show you what it looks like. We have some time. And the reason I'm using it is because I like to have a variety of greens, you know, and crispy, bitter, soft, you know, I do like a lot of variety. So that's what it looks like. It surprisingly lasts a very long time in your crisper drawer. This has been there for probably over a month, and it is still fresh. So lettuce also tends to last a lot longer than most people think. Okay, so we're gonna start chopping this. I like to shred my greens because I feel like it gives me the most amount of, like, texture, and we're just gonna make it in here. But I need to start cutting so that it's not gonna take long. So hopefully you can see what's happening. Where's my knife? Swap this around so you can see. Okay, so shredding, I'm just gonna ribbon. Look at that, I'm just gonna take all of it together. And my knife is actually really warm because it's been sitting in the heat. And you don't have to shred it, but I like shredding because I don't like having to use, you know, having to stab greens. I much rather just be able to, like, pick it up easily. So we've got 1 set of greens here. If you don't get radicchio, you don't have to. You can just get, you know, you can use kale, you can use a different type of lettuce. The whole idea for me of using radicchio is the pink. I love that pink. I love the texture, but I also love, I mean, I love the flavor, but I also just love the pink. I feel like a contrast in the salad makes it super interesting. And, you know, it just makes it more fun to look at. And for me, that makes it like a salad for a happy belly and mind. One of those things is that, you know, it looks good. It's a pretty salad. You look forward to eating it. So here is the pink. And I also just really love the combination of pink and green. It's one of my favorites, whether in clothing or in salad. It just makes me happy. Okay, so we've got that. We are going to throw in the arugula, which, like I said, is not very much, but I mean, I have spinach too, but I'm not Word. It's not actually not even. It's probably half a cup. This is just gonna go in there, and that's gonna add again an extra little bit of a different flavor, because it's sort of peppery. The ready chill will be slightly bitter, but like once you put the beans in, it'll take on, the flavors of everything. Okay, so we've got that. We have the cucumber, which you could smash the cucumber, which I don't have the time to demo today. So I'm gonna just cube it into small enough cubes because again, like I said, I like chopped salads in the sense that you can eat it with a spoon if you had to. I don't think you can actually eat this one with a spoon. That's fine. We've got the cucumber. The other thing I want to just mention is like the more you put in the salad, it's great, but you might have to adjust the dressing because the dressing flavors will get a little diluted. And so I just adjusted at the end. I tasted and I'm like, okay, is it enough citrus? Is there enough salt? Those are the only things that I adjust. Maybe I'll adjust olive oil if I've got a really nice olive oil and I want to finish it with that. But usually it's just the salt and the citrus flavor. Okay, so we've got the cucumber in there. What else do we need? We need avocado, which I'm going to do last because um, and I want to see how much we have before that. I'm going to get my pumpkin seeds. We've got our quinoa and hemp seeds. So use it. Um, oh dear. Hi everyone. I am back. Uh, Spotlight. And my goodness me. Spotlight. Like my Zoom dropped. Hopefully you didn't lose too much of that. Okay. So I'm just gonna eyeball this, putting in a couple of 2 to 3, Jesus, 3 to 4. 3 to 4 of the cooked quinoa. You don't want to put too much because I have put too much before and it doesn't make it too fun. The more quinoa you put, again, um, it's gonna dilute the flavors of the dressing. All right, looks like there might be a question. Okay. All right. If there's any questions, just feel free to unmute yourself and ask me, okay? Because I'm clearly really into this salad. I'll be backing up my um seeds, pumpkin seeds. Okay. Need another spoon. All right. Hemp seeds. Really, really good way
Mukta Ruby here.
to get some
Hello?
extra protein. What I love about hemp seeds, yes, that they. Hi.
Hi,
Can you
Mukta
still hear
Ruby
me?
here.
Can you hear me?
So you cook your cake.
Say that again, Ruby, about my quinoa.
Yeah, you cook it and put it in a bottle in the refrigerator.
Yeah, I did that today because I wanted to cool it down. Because it's a cold salad.
Oh, okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, if you have leftover quinoa
Okay.
or any other grains, that's a really good way to, use it up. Just throw it in there. Okay, so I threw in a couple of I don't know, maybe teaspoons, maybe tablespoons of hemp seeds. And then with the pumpkin seeds, I'm just gonna put in a handful. All of this is an estimate, okay? I'm giving you the recipe, but I am literally just gonna take a handful and throw it in. Now, what we're getting here is we're getting a lot of different textures. Again, you're getting the crunchiness from the pumpkin seeds, you're getting the softness from the quinoa, the coolness from the cucumber. There's a lot going on here, but it's absolutely beautiful. And now, again, I'm not putting the avocado in yet. The avocado definitely is going to go in because it's going to add to the fullness and satiety. But I just, I don't know what time we're going to eat, and I don't want the avocado to sit around and get oxidized. So I'm going to do this first. I have literally used every possible spoon that I could use today. It's not something that I recommend doing, but here we are. Okay, so I'm just going to toss this up so that, the salad itself is tossed. And really, I should have used a bigger bowl, but I don't have something handy at the moment that I remembered to wash, so it might be a bit dusty. So what I'm going to do with this one is, let me see. You can marinate it for like overnight if you want. The flavors haven't gone in yet. Might have to toss this again. So the idea is, I'm not going to put the beans in yet because the idea is that the beans should take on the flavors. Actually, you know what? Changing my mind. I might as well just show you. So let's put it all in because all the dressing, the extra dressing is going to go in there as well. So you're not wasting anything here. And because it's such a warm night, I'm going to put this back in the fridge. Toss it, put it back in the fridge until we're ready to eat. And then I'm going to add avocado at the end. Usually, I would probably add pumpkin seeds at the end as well, because now what's going to happen is the pumpkin seeds are going to get soggy, which is okay. It's not like a huge deal. But if you wanted to keep, like, if you were doing nuts and seeds, I would definitely put them in at the end. And looking at this quantity, I am pretty sure that I'm going to have to add some more lime and salt. But it's all a personal preference. So I would say take a look and then decide. It's not the prettiest thing at the moment. Actually, it looks really pretty in there. No, I'm going to take it back. It looks very pretty. All right, so that is a pretty salad. All right, Linda, I saw your message. If you could email me, I will email you back. If you want the recipe and the slides, please email me. Put my email in there again. Okay, let's get some questions. I'm gonna unspotlight this thing. We have 2 more minutes. Remove spotlight. Feel free to unmute yourself. Any questions? Do you think you're gonna make this beautiful salad? See a little bit of head nodding. Awesome, awesome. Anyone excited about playing with the sattva sattva approach this week? Put it in the chat if you don't want to unmute yourself. Any questions? We went through a lot of info.
Mukta, sorry, I have a question.
Don't be sorry, Ruby. I love your questions.
Usually in the past, onion, garlic, all these items were good for health. And sattva tells us not to eat the meat. So it's like On one shoulder, I have the onion and garlic fighting with the sattva on the other shoulder.
See, this is
How does
why,
that work?
yeah, and this is why you have to decide what you want to do with that. And that's like what I said, it's the limitation of any diet, right? Like it makes you overthink, it causes a lot of stress. So you have to decide, like if the onion and garlic is something that you want to use, like in the recipes that I've provided you, there's definitely onion, there's definitely garlic. So I don't see, I think, again, it depends on how deeply you want to go into this. And if you do want to go deeply into this, I would recommend doing your own research on sattva and deciding how you want to proceed. There's no reason to do it at all, except to just focus on, for your own sake, for this week, focus on how you want to bring balance to your life. I feel like that is the takeaway.
Okay. Because it looks more like the Jains, they don't believe in the root tail. And sattva seems to be tending towards the Jain philosophy.
It is, I would say that is my understanding, that it's closer to like the Jain sort of diet. And again, it's not for everyone. Some people have grown up knowing only that and it works for them. And for some people, it just makes no sense at all. So again, this is not something that you have to do in any shape or form.
Thank you. It is a great
You're
class.
welcome.
Thank
Yay!
you.
Awesome. Amanda, definitely making this for lunch if it's too chilly. Oh, where are you, Amanda? I think I have a warm salad recipe in my PDF that I'm sending. So if you are in a different part of the world where it's too cold, you might be interested. I think it's like a roasted veggie salad. Okay, everyone, in the interest of time, you are welcome, Karen. If you have questions, feel free to email them to me and let's connect. Follow me on Instagram. I am taking part in a yoga challenge at the moment and it's fun. You can see me be very vulnerable and visible for the next week at least. So, all right. Take care, everyone. Hope you stay cool. Oh my gosh. Hi, Mandy. All right. So, bye, everyone. And thank you so much for joining. Take care. Mwah.